Welcome back to Enhancing the channel. Today, we're going to be working on a fun, quick, and easy electrical project. So before I continue explaining the story, I wanted to tell you that I just got back from pressure washing and I'm slightly tired, but I could still do this hands-on project very well. And if you ask me why, I got the answer. It's because it's going to be a quick one. So as you recall, last year, I did all these voltage lights, so we're right here. And this looks to be a continuation from Handyman Street because there's still a path and there's still more than one handyman project done here. So I still want to name this Handyman Street. It's all connected, if you had no idea. So, the people who were doing our landscaping accidentally ripped out our wire because they were working something over here and looks like they split it. And the light is all fine, but the light can't shine until we fix it. So that means last night, because they did it last night, there was no light from this specific light bulb. And we don't like that because we had it on and we wanted it to stay on. So, we're going to fix it. So, I'm going to need some tools, and I'm going to tell you what I'm going to use it. So, right here I have a pair of pliers. They ply a lot of things. And then I got here a wire stripper. It will take the plastic off wires. If you want to see more how I actually did it, this will give you a little bit more explanation on a bunch of the tools and how I did all this. We'll put it in the end screen and on my channel so you can also find it. But I recommend you finish the video before you check that out. These are called butt splicers, and they have nothing to do with a human bottom. But what they're used for is connecting two wires together. I don't know why I said pliers. It sounds very similar. So they connect the wires together. And then we're going to be using a special heat shrink material, which is going to waterproof our connection. You'll see how it works. I don't want to tell you how it works yet. So one thing, if you actually want to do this handyman, you will need several things that are not in the screen right now because I haven't shown them yet. You'll also need a gas storage, and you'll need a handyman to do it, which could be you, could be me, could be anyone. And then I forgot to say you also need a utility knife. And it's not the same thing as a different kind of knife. And then we're going to need a gas torch. So if you're someone that's not an adult, I recommend you use an adult. Get an adult, because this thing is no good without an adult supervision. I think it's okay if you're 10 or above, if an adult watches you do it, but I don't recommend doing it if you're a child. And as you know, a gas torch is very dangerous sometimes, so don't put it near your body or anything else. If you need to see the rest of the warnings, because I'm not going to tell you 15 minutes of warnings. So if you don't know how to use a gas torch, don't burn yourself and go on Google or other search engine to know all the warnings. Best of all, you can ask an adult, or if you are an adult, well, you could ask your brain. And best of all, you might be asking, there's no adult. There actually is. It's the one who's holding the camera, and it's the one who's helping with the video, and it's my dad. So I'm being supervised. My dad knows how to use gas torches pretty well. Now I showed you all the tools. Now let's get started finally, because I don't know how much I did. I'm guessing I did 3 or 4 minutes. So first thing I have to do is get our utility knife and get it and cut it apart to an inch. But I can't do that until I open it, because for safety reasons, we keep it normally closed when we're not using it. This time it's budging. Oh, it's not budging. Now it is. So I'm going to get it about 1.5 inches or something, or somewhere until here. I recommend this is a good amount. You might need to go more than one time over it, because sometimes it doesn't want to cut open. I recommend you don't do this on concrete, because it might scratch it a little bit, but this is my place I can do it. So it's okay if you're doing it on concrete, but I wouldn't recommend it. So I think we got it open. I'm not sure. I'm gonna do it once again just to make sure, because from what I see, it's still not. I don't know why it's not budging. Maybe it's an old utility knife, and maybe it's not that sharp. But I did it. Only from one side. I think you also forgot that I had to do the other side. I didn't. I just wasn't ready to do it. Or maybe I did. I don't remember. I have to remember if I forgot or not. But that's not what I'm good. So I actually forgot to mention something. So actually when I split it, I actually have to kind of do this to make it look more like a Y. And making it look less like an L or a line. Making it look more like a Y, because it's going to be better because we're going to be using wire strippers. So actually once I split it, there's one that has lighting and it says a lot of things because it's a one wire. So there's only one wire that says that. And this is the wire and this is the wire. So that means I have to put this together, this wire specifically, and this wire together. So we're going to need 18 gauge wire, which we have right here. And before we actually start, we have to unlock it, otherwise we can't really use it. So what we're going to do is we're going to get it at the 18 mark. And we're going to go about here. Maybe, yeah, right here. And then I'm going to try to get it off. Now this, you might find very challenging, like I'm finding it. But you might find it easier if you think that you're a handyman and that you can actually do it. Now for the people who are watching aren't handymans, well, you can still do it. Because, well, I don't think anyone is weak who's watching this video. And I hope I guessed it correctly. So for some interesting reason, I actually got it off. So that means I can just pull it with my fingers. And the parts where I just pulled it off are much shinier than the others, which I've been looked at for about a day. The copper box is really fast, but that's not what I'm gonna be doing because I got a handyman project to do and not a bunch of talking to do. Because as I said, this video has to be quick. So now I think I can, yep, I can. And it's about the same thickness, which is good. And then we have to do it on the other wire too. And we have to do 4 instead of 2. So the beginning is always the most challenging part. Because I don't think you're doing it as you're watching the video. I think you're going to do it after you watch the video. So if you had no idea, the most challenging part is the first part. And then as you get more, it more through, then you'll find it easier. Once you get to the very end, it's even easier because you could pull it right off with a finger. Now I think I accidentally locked it, so I had to unlock it. And then I just have to pull it off. And then I have to do the same thing here. And don't worry, you're not going to be bored. So there's no reason. I'm kidding. There actually is a reason why I'm going to do this. It's because this one is going to be super fast. There, now I got it off. So now for preparing this to be butt sliced, specifically these things, we're gonna have to spin it or twist it like this. I don't have to spin it a lot or twist it because it doesn't need to be twisted that much. All it needs to be is just a little bit twisted. So actually, we changed it to 16 gauge because it's like bigger. But we have to, instead of having it this wide, we realized that there has to be 2 wires in one of these. So I have to make it about half as big. I mean, half as wide. So that means we're going to have to use these pliers. And we're going to have to make them much smaller. There, now I cut it. And the trash goes in here. So I finished these 2 wires. And there's these. I'm going to have to move a little bit because the wires don't budge. Because, well, they're in the ground. So I'm going to put it into about here. And I'm going to squeeze really hard. And then I'm going to have to pull just a little bit. So that I don't accidentally waste my energy and when it's already split. I think we're about good. But also I'll do it like the very end. There. So now I got this more controlled. And then the trash, I don't need it right now. This is not trash. This is just most of it stored in the same area. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get our 16 gauge butt splice. And there's actually a whole thing in our pliers for it. It's called this butt splice crimper. And I don't know why they made it just specifically for it, but, well, good, because it's easy now to hold it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take a bit, and we're going to put it in nicely. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to take it and put it in the entire, all the way, and then I have to press it, but not yet. So now I'm going to press it really tight so that I get it in there. Pulling on it, and I can tell that it's nice and tight. So now I'm going to, this is how the butt splice crimper works. And it leaves this mark, which actually is good because it will press it in there more and make it slightly more tight. So now I'm going to be doing it really fast. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Now make sure not to put it in the same one. We're going to do it all over again like this. Because if we put it together, that defeats the purpose. And it's our plastic and will make very bad electrical reaction, also known as the same stuff when electricity mixes with water. I'm going to put it in the pliers like again, and then I'm going to do it really fast. So now I'm going to do it really hard so that I get it in there like the last one. Oops, see, I did it really hard. So now the indentation is really strong. And as coincidence, I did it on the opposite side. So before we fix it completely, we have to decide which heat shrink. So I'm going to try this one first. And if I put it in, then it's quite loose. And we don't want loose. So I'm going to try this one. And this will probably work. Yep, this is about good. So I'm not going to finish it yet. So this is a 1-inch heat shrink because the camera doesn't translate very well in measurements unless I explain it. And this is about 3/4 of an inch. And so about this way, not this way. This will be much more than 3/4 of an inch. That would be about 5 or 6 inches. That would be about 8. Or maybe less. So now, what we're going to do is we're going to leave about half an inch like this, also known as a centimeter, about here, and then we're going to cut the rest off. So we want to cut it off before we put it inside, otherwise we might accidentally cut this. Now let me check again. These are a little bit dull because these look to be old, but they still work. So now this bit is the bit that we're not going to be using. And this is the one that we need. So this we do not need right now. I'm going to put it with the rest of the stuff that we don't need. So now we're going to take the heat shrink and we're going to put it in wire for later use. You'll see why we need it for later. I mean, you'll see later. You'll see why later. For now, just trust me on this one. Put it in here. Now by the time you actually do it, you'll probably know why. Now actually I'm supposed to do it all the way in, not some of the way in. So about here. Now it's good not to leave any of the blue here. Now you should do it about here. Is actually more like that. So now we're going to take the wire with the writing and we're going to put it in here. Now not like that. We're going to put the butt slice in here. Make sure we don't have the other one, because that would make things kind of strange. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the one that has the writing on it. And it might be a little bit hard to see, but it's this one, the one I'm holding right now. And we're going to push it in there. Make sure it's tight, and then we have to press it really hard, like last time. There, and now it's nice and tight. And then the one that doesn't have the writing, or the one that we didn't put in there, we could just use it. But before we can actually do that, we have to find it. Right now, I can't see there. Now the very last one is going to be very nice and fast. Wow, I did it so hard that I even stuck to that for a second. And look at the dent mark. So now the pliers can finally take a rest because they feel like they're getting tired. But the thing that's actually getting tired is me. I'm kind of tired, but I can still finish the video because I'm a handyman and I still got energy. So now it looks like it's good. Now, it's not the time when this will normally come on, so we can't really tell if it's good enough, but I can probably tell that it is. So now I'm just checking to make sure everything is on. Now after I check, I would want to put it on to keep it stronger, but everything looks good. So that means we're going to nicely, carefully put it in. Now you might find this slightly challenging, but it's good to find it slightly challenging. So don't use the one that's slightly less challenging because that would make it slightly too loose. So now I put the heat shrink in nice and evenly. So now it's almost time for the blowtorch, but I'm not sure it is. So before I use the blowtorch, for safety reasons, I need to put on gloves. So you may be asking, why do I have my computer here? So the reason why is because I have a smart app that will let me check this thing if it works or not. So I'm not going to actually turn on my tablet yet and do it, but right now what I am going to do is I'm going to turn on the blowtorch. So now I'm holding this with one hand. I'm going to press this button to turn it on like this. So I normally do it use you press the button, but I can't do it yet, so I'm going to have to hold it. So now I just finished the heat shrink, and look how nice it looks. It looks like it just got pressed by a hydraulic press. It looks like it molded the exact shape. Looks like I could tell where I did it and where I did not. Like where the wire is individually and where I did the these butt splices. So the interesting thing about the heat shrink, so all I have to do is just give it heat and it'll shrink. You may be asking how. So most of the molecular structures, when you heat it up, they become bigger or expand. Specifically, like they become steam if it was water, and a lot of other things if it starts off from water things and ends up in a lot of things. But this material is made from material that actually will shrink when it's constructed, and it's not by how manufacturers build it. It's how the material actually is made. It's the molecular structure, how it's made. So now, before we do the final step, let's check it if it works. I have to take off the gloves so we can actually access our computers. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get our computer screen. We're going to come to the app, which is already here. And then we get it to the landscape lights. And we're going to do the one that says the one we need. And we're going to turn it on quickly. There, now it's on. And it works. So now we don't need to use our professional light. We have already a light here. So now I'm going to turn it off and on, which it doesn't want to do. but now it is. Now it takes it a second for some reason. Now I don't want to cause a reaction where if I press it on not too much, it's just gonna get overheated and it's gonna cause stuff that we don't want to, just weird stuff. So that's why I'm gonna leave it off till our schedule says so, which is about 2 hours. So we finished with the electrical work in the project, but we still have to orient it because, well, that's the point of the light. So we're gonna put it like right about here and point it at the house. Because it's a landscape light for the house, not for the path. I want to put it in slightly deeper so that it will actually stay on if there's a rainstorm or a thunderstorm or any storm. So I'm just going to check it one more time and that our work today is finished. But now mine. Because I still have to do the editing and all that. But you don't need to see all that. So I'm just going to check it once again. Yep, it totally works. And now it's time to wrap the video up. So I want to thank Dad for helping me teach me how to do this and get the blowtorch and all that. And this time I did a lot of mistakes that I didn't make it in the video. So I want to thank Dad for helping with those. Some of them are bigger than others. And then also I need to thank Dad for buying all the equipment and stuff, and for buying the house so I could do the project and allowing me to do the project. And I also want to thank myself for being smart and able to do this project. And now it's the thing you've been waiting for. It's the time to say bye and to see the other video where I made the landscape light and the end screen. So bye.